Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a panoramic seascape. That's a big word. We're going to be showing you step by step how to do it from start to finish. Should be a fairly easy project, I think. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat for our live show, so if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and I will try to answer them. Let's get started. All right, so I'm using an extra long canvas this time. This is a 8 by 24 inch. If you don't have this size, you can always crop it down to whatever size canvas you have, but I happen to order some of these from Fredrix. They're their Pro Dixie series of canvases. I thought that this was kind of a fun size, and so I went and looked for pictures and found a bunch of seascapes that were in panoramic style. So I think we'll be doing a series of these. I have about 4 of these canvases, I think. So we'll be doing at least one other one this year. So thank you to Fredrix for sending these. Let's go over our colors really quick. We've got Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Red Light, Cadmium Orange, Yellow Oxide, Cadmium Yellow Light, Cadmium Yellow Medium, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Teal, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Burnt Sienna, Burnt Umber, and Dioxazine Purple. That's kind of our basic color palette that we use in a lot of our videos. Then we've also got white and unbleached titanium and zinc white for our clouds. It's just a transparent white. If you don't have these exact colors, just use what you've got that are similar. I'm kind of just using a rainbow of colors for our sunset here. And our brushes, I'm going to be using a large flat. If you don't have this is a Redline 2-inch angle brush. If you don't have one of these, you could always use like a large foam brush. Those would work as well, but I really like the Redline. They've got a longer handle and you can kind of really get behind it. I've been enjoying these. So that's a Princeton brush, and then actually all of our brushes from Princeton, our brush sponsor. Yay, thank you to them. And to Fredrix, our canvas sponsor. They don't pay us for this. We just kind of use their products anyways, and so we kind of give them a shout out every show. 12-inch and 8-inch bright for some of the smaller details, and just kind of blocking in colors. And then for our clouds, we're probably going to use the 3/8-inch Deerfoot Stippler and the 3/8-inch and 1/4-inch Willows blenders from their Velvet Touch line. And then I've got a 1/4-inch and a 3/8-inch angle brush and a number 1 round for the trees. And some of the details in those. All right, so, and I really, I don't think it's going to be particularly difficult. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit more simplified. So we're not going to do like full-on realism with this. I think we're going to kind of do a simplified version so that it's a little bit more beginner-friendly. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to have a ruler. If you've got a T-square, that's even better. And you're going to want to mark out your horizon line. And I went just about on the 3rd, maybe a little bit higher than the 3rd on my canvas here to do that. And I just used a watercolor pencil and marked it all the way across. And this, I didn't have one big enough, so I just kind of had to do like that and do make sure that the line kind of matched up. And the edges of your canvas can kind of be wonky sometimes, so you might want to, check it. You might even measure from the bottom up and just, make sure that you're kind of getting it the exact same height. Because sometimes, like on the ends of your canvas here, there'll be like little things sticking out that'll make it go off center. So you just want to make sure that your horizon line is completely straight with a seascape. And so we've done that. So I've got that marked out, and I'm going to grab my large flat. This is the angle brush, number 2 angle. And I'm going to use a water bottle here and just spritz my canvas all the way across. That will give it a little bit extra time for our paint. It'll allow the paint to absorb into the canvas a little bit. You can even wet the back of the canvas. I've seen that done. I've not tried that. I need to try it sometime, but I've seen that recommended. So,
can you paint the back of the canvas?
Well, just saying they moisten the back of the canvas because it kind of gets through the fibers of the canvas. Supposedly is supposed to let it give you a little bit extra time drying. Oh, also, I didn't mention I used some glazing liquid here. That'll just also kind of give us a little bit extra blending time with our sky. So I'm going to grab the teal to start with and a little bit of white. And I've just kind of put a little bit extra over here just to give myself, so I don't have to kind of try to dip in here because it's such a big brush. So I'm going to start going across here my sky. And the main thing that I want to do is just to kind of do these long sweeping strokes and make sure that I have my ends kind of blendy so that if it does dry before I get the next color on there, it won't be hard to cover later, you know. I'm going to wipe that off and grab some more white here and a little bit of ultramarine blue. And I'm dipping into that teal too. And up here, I'm going to use that kind of a little bit more blue and sweep down kind of at an arc. It angles in just a little bit. I really don't want this area to be blue right there. That's going to be our sun. So I'm going to get some white, make sure that that area is white. And there'll be some yellow that's down in here, but I want to do this blue first because I don't want my sky to turn green. So I'm just going to kind of get this blue on, and then we'll go in and add the yellows later. All right, so that's pretty well blendy, I think. Let's grab a little bit of our ultramarine blue. And up here, we're going to have much more bright blue sky. So I'm going to go right in here with that. And I blended it in with the teal just a little bit. And the teal is just a phthalo blue plus phthalo green with a little bit of white. So if you don't have it, you can mix it with those colors. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, and white. And also here, I'm doing kind of a bowl shape. These clouds are kind of coming up and around like this.
Another brand name.
Seg Beauty, and I put this on my Amazon store. It's just a continuous spray bottle.
Is it for hair?
Yeah, it's for hair. It's a super fine mist. So it kind of gets the drops. I feel like it gets the drops down into that paint a little bit better.
Yeah, very fine mist instead of a random spray.
Right.
So, Seg Beauty.
Seg Beauty.
And the link is in the Amazon store down below the video.
Yep.
Check.
It's in my acrylic painting supplies list. So
I might need it for my hair later.
More of the phthalo blue. What'd you say?
Said I might need it for my hair later.
Okay.
Sometimes it sticks up in the back, apparently.
I got a good picture of Mark with his hair sticking up last week. I had to share that with the group. It was too funny. And we posted on my Facebook group. Thankful Art. So if you want the behind the scenes stuff, we do a lot of behind the scenes photos in Thankful Art. You get a lot more stuff going on. Okay, so I think that's fairly good. I'm fairly happy with that. I might darken up that sky a little bit, but and there's a little bit of glare over here from the arm of the thing. But I'm going to go ahead and let that dry a minute. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and go down here and add some of the water color. So this down here is that teal color. And using some white on this side. It kind of fades out over here pretty quickly. And then the upper part is all orangey. So I'm just going to kind of go along the bottom there. And like I said, kind of keep my brush strokes sort of wispy on the edges there so that I'm not having to fight to blend in any really hard edges later. Just makes it easier to overlap colors when you've got these kind of soft edges. Okay, and let's go ahead and go right up to the... There is a little bit of the sea showing back here, so I'm just going to go ahead and go right up to the horizon line right there. Oh. Well, I just went over it. Okay, there we go. This brush is too big for that. It just went right over the top. Use a smaller brush for this part. Okay, good enough. We'll fix the horizon line later. We're going to use a straight edge ruler when we put in our final kind of colors back there. And that'll make sure that we keep that line really straight and level. All right, so I'm going to set that aside for now. And let's go ahead and grab this one. This is the number 12 Bright. I think this is close enough. It's still drying, but I think it's close enough. It's still wet enough that I can blend into it. So I'm going to grab some. If your sky is starting to dry, then just wait and let it dry completely before doing this step. So my sky is still wet enough. I think we can get away with doing this right now. But if it was drying, I would want to let it wait because you don't want to work into a wet paint or drying paint, I should say, because it will lift off your canvas. It's not a good thing.
So I have a question.
Yep. Grab a little bit of cadmium red light. Go ahead with this. This is the cadmium yellow light here I was using. I don't think I mentioned that. Adding a little bit of cadmium red light to it. We're going to go right along that horizon line. And get it as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect right now because we're going to add it more later. Go, hun.
Oh, I was just wondering, in this new layout, if the side cam is working before I press a button.
I didn't check it.
Well, did you set it up on this scene?
No, I didn't. No, I mean, it's there, but I didn't check the angle.
Let's see.
To see where it's showing.
Yep, no, but it's not set up on this scene. That's okay.
I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
We'll talk tech afterwards.
Okay, thanks.
We won't bore everybody more than we already are.
Grabbing some of the magenta, adding that color in. And let's add that down into the water too. This might be a little bit bright, so let's add a little bit of white just to tone it down slightly. Just soften that color. There we go. And we'll go into the water with this color. And I'm just kind of brushing it out side to side here to kind of blend it in with our blue that we've already got. A little bit more white. And that blue's still wet, so it's blending a little bit with it, which is great. And if it wasn't, that'd be okay too, because it would be kind of sort of dry brushed over the top. We're just kind of trying to put in streaks here. And I'm keeping my brush strokes sort of horizontal here. They do angle just a little bit towards our focal point, which is our sun here. So you can have them kind of angled a little bit, but these ones that are really far away here are very straight. So they're pretty much straight. So I don't want that blue in there. I had blue in my brush. Take that out. I want that pink color. It's really kind of a salmon-y color. Salmon color. Peach. Okay, so what's happening here is it's picking up this wet color over here. So what I can do is I can wipe my brush off, and I can go from this color over here and pull it back in that direction and not pull it back this way, because what's happening is it's grabbing the paint here and it's pulling it over here. So I can kind of go back and forth a little bit to kind of prevent it from moving so much.
We have our brush question when you have a moment.
Yep.
Now I gotta find it. Oh, are bright and flat brushes the same, or do they differ?
They are different. They brights tend to be shorter. So you can see I'm kind of putting some lines in our seascape here. So just kind of putting some lines in the water here, going back and forth. Okay, that'll be good. I think we'll use some lighter colors to lighten up this over here. All right. And if this was already dry, what you would do is just grab a little bit of this blue and put it back over the area over here where it's brightest, and then just continue and do what we've been doing right here with this pink, and just add a little bit of fresh teal and then blend them. So that way you'd get these kind of fresh teal sections with this peach color. So you can always go back and forth, add a little bit of peach, add a little bit of the teal, and it doesn't have to be the exact same color. But if you will keep kind of spray your area here, you can keep this blended area moist for a little bit of time to give you some extra working time. Okay. Oh, see what happened there? I just touched that it was drying and it lifted right off the canvas. So I'm going to try to put some color back on there, and then I'm going to have to leave that to dry. Well, I took all the color off, so we're just going to have to let that dry. And I left a little bit of beach here, so let's go ahead and just kind of put that sand color in there. It's kind of there's a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of magenta, and it's probably a little bit more yellow than that. Let's grab a little bit of yellow oxide. This is the Unbleached Titanium here. It's just kind of an off white. And I haven't drawn this in, so I'm just going to have to kind of wing it here at first. There's just this piece of sand that's kind of coming out here. I'm going to go almost to the third mark because I want to elongate my picture just a little bit. My reference photo is a little bit shorter than the canvas. So I want to bring my trees out to this third here. So the island's going to be kind of right down in here. So I'm going to bring this out just a little bit more. But about maybe an inch from maybe not quite an inch from the top of the canvas. So just a little bit of space there, and just do kind of an S shape right here along the beach and to the corner. And this part kind of goes almost straight across right here, up here. Okay, and just keep it kind of random. You don't want hard edges here, so just kind of do it real soft and flowy right there. Side to side, don't use too much paint. I think that one of the things that will help you if you, if you're just starting to paint, well, there's two tendencies. There's either the tendency to not put enough paint on your brush, and then to have, just like this dry and you can't blend it all because it's just too dry and you just don't have anything to work with. Or you tend to like way over saturate your brush and you just have a ton of paint on your brush and you can't blend it all. So, all right, I'm going to give this to you, honey, to dry, if you would. Just need to make sure it's completely dry before we do in our clouds or our second layer on there. Thank you, hon. Mm-hmm. I guess I could have probably painted the sides of it. I'm going to show you what we've got coming up this weekend. Tomorrow, during our Patreon, we've got our Patreon bonus video. So we're going to be doing a leopard. It's going to be black and white, but I'm going to show you how to glaze it. So if you want to add color to it, you can do that. And we'll be also tinting the eyes. So you can do it either way. You can do it black and white. You can do it, full color, or just color on the eyes with the rest of it black and white. So I'll show you all 3 different ways of doing it, but it should be a lot of fun. We're going to start with the black canvas. It's $5 to join the live show, and it also includes, for the $5, includes all the traceables that we do for all of our videos, and it also includes all of the reference photos, so high resolution photos of all of my finished artwork and the reference photos, so that you can work from those at your own leisure at home. So it's a pretty good deal. And then for the $10 level on Patreon, we also have another video that we do in there, but that's a longer one, and it takes all month long, and we are almost finished with it. We've got one more week on it, but we've been working on that for the last 2 weeks on Thursdays in a special Facebook group for the $10 level. So if you're interested in extra things, the $10 level also includes, they get to do polls to pick the bonus videos. So they picked this painting and the leopard last month to do this month. And they also have special giveaways in there that I do special from time to time, not too often, but every couple of months. And then they also I do critiques. So if you have some artwork you're working on that you want, it doesn't have to be from my tutorials. It can be whatever you're working on, and you want personalized critiques. I usually do on my digital tablet. I take the reference photo, whatever artwork you're working on, if you kind of get stuck, and you can post it in that group, and then I will take your painting and kind of digitize different small changes that I would make, and that's included with that group. So that's the only place on the internet that I do the critiques. I just don't have time to do it on Facebook anymore in my regular group. All right, so there we go. So we've got it dry. Thank you, honey. Looks really good. So we definitely want to darken this up. Although we could kind of leave it soft like this. I like these softer colors, so it's just up to you whether you want to deepen up that sky a little bit. Maybe I might do this area down here and then see if we want it darkened up. So what I'm going to do first is to make sure that I've got this horizon line straight, because it has gotten all janky on me. So that color it's similar to this color that we used down below. And it's smaller area. Actually going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to clean out that one and use and I'm going to keep these brushes moist. They're not clean yet, so I need to just kind of keep them wet while I'm working. I don't want to leave them in my water or they'll get damaged. Let me see. I might want a pencil for later to draw the trees too. All right, so I think I'm going to grab that number 8 bright. I was going to show you the difference between a bright and a flat. Here we go.
So do you want me to come over there for an example? For the bright part?
Here we go. Here we go. There's the flat. And there's the bright in the Princeton. The same number, and the flat is quite a lot longer than the bright. Brights just tend to be a little bit easier to control. So there's that. All right. Sorry, I meant to answer. I don't think I answered that question fully earlier. Got distracted by something. Who knows? All right. So I'll add a little bit of this cadmium orange to this Quinacridone Magenta. And I've just mixed in this area that I've already kind of blended colors. So it's picking up the colors that we've already got on there. And I'm going to take off most of the color, grab a little bit of my glazing liquid, and go back and forth here and tint this area right along the horizon line. Right there. And using the ruler will just kind of help me keep my line straight. Makes it really easy. Okay, and then right in here, I'm going to grab a little bit of my cadmium yellow light. Do that right there, just to kind of transition. So just going to do these side to side brush strokes. And then if any of the brush strokes show, any of the streaks show, it'll just kind of look like a cloud or, you know, some sort of atmospheric thing. So it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. It makes it a lot easier to kind of get that kind of cloudy look if you can just keep your brush strokes side to side like that. A little bit of white here. Go a little bit of white up here to soften the colors a little bit. But this area down here is fairly dark, so I'm going to grab a little bit of my Phthalo or my Ultramarine Blue too and add that in. That'll kind of create a purpley color if I have enough magenta. If it doesn't turn purple, then add a little bit more magenta to it. There we go. Give it just a little bit more kind of a moody feel right along that line there.
So does using the ruler leave the same hard line like using tape would?
Yeah, it does. It leaves a straight line. Use a little bit of purple here. A little bit of teal. And then over, I'm just going to flip my ruler. Gives you a nice clean line. And then we're going to use this purple over here. And I just want to make sure that this line here, when I was blending it out, you know, that I didn't have like a hard line right there. I kind of made sure my ends were wispy just by kind of drawing it side to side like this. If you have enough, like, if you're getting like a solid line there, it just probably means you have a little bit too much paint. So you can just kind of tap it off in your paper towel if you need to. I'm going to grab a little bit more purple and go right to that little edge right there. And I'm keeping it fairly low. It doesn't go very high. These clouds are very low right here. Grab a little bit of the yellow and white and come up above it just a little bit and try to kind of soften that edge. And if you have if it's not softening up for you, we're going to blend out this edge a little bit more with some of the Zinc White and the cloud covers, so cloud colors, I should say. So don't worry too much about it. I just want to kind of make sure that this area is kind of soft between those two sections there. A little bit more of the Quinacridone Magenta. Uh-oh. My line got down. And also, if you're pressing down really hard on your canvas, you can end up with the line can kind of move, so don't press down too hard on your ruler when you're doing this. Okay, that's good. Now see, yeah, we've already got kind of that distance. It's really interesting how that works, but having these kind of just slight difference between the water and the sky there, it just gives that perspective. I don't really know why, but it's really kind of cool. All right, so let's grab a little bit of white and a little bit of our orangey color, I think. Let's grab a little bit of orange, a little bit of that pink that's up here. So we're going to go just like one shade, 2 shades lighter and come just below that line. And I'm going to wipe most of this off, and I want to just kind of dry brush that line. I want to keep it straight, but I want to kind of soften that edge so that it's a little bit fuzzy. Just kind of going over the top, back and forth. It's kind of getting a little bit in the sky and a little bit on the water below. It'll just kind of soften that up so it doesn't look like such an artificially straight line there. There is kind of a haze in the water right there, but you definitely don't want to change your line, so make sure that you don't go too high.
So people don't realize in this nice, peaceful, serene setting that just under the surface is the Meg.
That movie did not disappoint. That's all I'm saying.
So
I did not have very high expectations, and it did not disappoint.
If we sound less intelligent than normal, it's because we watched the Meg. Just saying.
Sorry, Statham. Don't make him mad. He could probably take us on blindfolded with one hand tied behind his back.
I mean, I can take my shirt off too during the video if I have to.
I think that's probably required in all of his movies. I think that's probably like in the contract.
I think it's CGI.
You think so? Okay.
I think so. Nobody has abs like that.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you're not saying anything.
I'm not saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
I should say nobody I know that has abs like that. Grabbing some cadmium yellow medium here. We're going to start working on our clouds a little bit. So I want to bring some more of the yellow tones a little higher up into our cloud area there. So I grabbed some glazing liquid because I want to keep this kind of soft. And I grabbed the cadmium yellow medium, and the zinc white. And I'm just going to kind of do this at an angle here. I really don't want to go down too far. And if this is like way too bright, and it's just like, in your face bright, just add a little bit more of your glazing liquid. That'll kind of make it a little bit more transparent and give you a little bit more time to blend too. But we're just kind of doing sort of soft, bringing that yellow up a little bit higher into our sky up here. And then let's put it in our water too, down here. So let's just kind of go side to side here and put some highlights in our water. Again with the side to side brush strokes. And they're kind of angling in this way. Once they get past this point here, they Actually, let me see where it starts. Yeah, it's right about where the end of this is. So kind of right there, they start to kind of angle this way. And then these ones down here are kind of, there's not a whole lot of, there's kind of more still. But right here, you're going to see some angling in towards the sun just a little bit. Let's get a little bit darker phthalo blue here, just so we've got a little indication of that. Maybe a little bit of the phthalo green, so it's kind of a darker turquoise. And just a little bit. Now I don't want it, it's probably too much here. Okay, so that's too much. I don't want it to look like it's like stripes or something like that, you know, lined up. So I'm going to kind of soften that a little bit. And I can kind of go right up to that water right there, right water line. There, go side to side. I'm going to grab some of that sand color, that unbleached titanium. Bring that down over the water here to tint that water. Got the kind of reflection. It's also very thin right there, so you're going to be able to see the color of the water through the, or the color of the sand underneath the water just a little bit, maybe right there by the shoreline. So you're going to have more of that sandy color right in here.
Someone would like to know if you have used the Fredrix Pantone canvas.
Yes, I have. I have several of them. They're a little bit the texture is a little bit rougher than the. I think I have some. They're the gray ones that are over in the basket over there in the tall. They're behind those. That painting right there.
Behind this?
Okay. In that basket. I actually used one of those for the elephant last week, and
Well, this is Cantone. They said Pantone.
oh, I think that's what they meant.
Okay.
Pantone is a
Color?
yeah, it's a there's a Cantone canvases. So I used that last week for the elephant. I just painted it black before I used it. Mm. They come in packs of 3. Pantone is a pastel.
Okay.
So if they're talking about the pastel, no. But if they're talking about the canvases, yes. I need to work on some. I love pastel. I love the look of it. It's so soft and blendy and beautiful. Just haven't really done much of it.
Kind of like you.
Aw. That was sweet. All right. So
I'm going to be over here doing sit-ups.
I'm not complaining. I never went for the jock type when I was younger, ever. I went for the smart guys.
Okay, that's enough. Don't want to overdo it. Okay, back to painting.
Grabbing some of that pink. I just noticed that there's kind of a weird line there from the sky, so I'm going to use some of that pink color and just tone that underneath there a little bit on just below my horizon line. There we go. So we kind of smoothed out the edges of our island here, just added a little bit more softness. I'm going to grab my brighter color, I'm just going to kind of go back in and add just a few little highlight spots on there, just to kind of bring it a little bit forward in some places. And there's going to be a big old bush right in here, so. And I want to do kind of a S curve, so I want this to kind of come out a little bit right there. And then it widens out and angles back down almost to the corner, but not quite. Okay, there we go. Pretty. Grab a little bit more of that teal color. And it's got a little bit of pink in it, so I'm going to kind of go up in here and just kind of soften that transition. I just want to make sure that that transition between this yellow area, or the yellow orangey area, and this kind of more pinkish purple over here is a little got overlapping a little bit. And then it gets a lot darker right. What you looking for?
Oh, they want to know if it was rough, like a sandy texture, or just rough.
It's similar to this texture. It's it's not super rough. It's actually fairly smooth for a more inexpensive canvas.
Okay, it felt rough to me, so I said it was roughy. But
no,
it's not sandy feeling.
No, I'm trying to find another.
I got you sidetracked.
Canvas. Yeah. All right, made a little bit more of that dark teal. I'm just going to add a little bit more of it in here now. Just in a few places. So over in here, I'm just kind of doing them sort of almost straight, not quite, and then it's kind of an unusual direction for the water. Usually you're going to see it side to side. I think because it was taken with the panoramic, it's kind of pulled the angles a little bit weird. It's just kind of a fisheye lens, so everything kind of gets sucked into the middle here. So that's why we're seeing these kind of water go like this. So if you want to, you could probably do it side to side. If that, if you're having trouble with these angles looking right to you, you could probably just do this whole, section side to side all the way down and you'd be fine. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do with it. Your painting, I don't think that you can really go wrong. Just as long as you've got your horizon line straight there, you're going to be okay. Just want it to be kind of subtle. So I'm going to grab a little bit of, maybe not that bright. Grab a little bit of that orangey color here. I'm going to bring it down a little bit farther. There we go. There we go. And as we get to the very top of the canvas, our brush strokes are going to get really small and closer together. And then toward the bottom, we can have kind of wider, broader brush strokes. Because they're closer to us, we're seeing more of the shape. So don't do any of these like bigger brush strokes any farther up than about halfway up your line here. So these bigger ones down here, don't do any of that up here. Just keep them very small up here. So just side to side, little brush strokes up here. Very small. I don't know why I'm whispering. They're small. Shh. I gotta love painting.
Are they sleeping?
I don't know. I don't know why I was whispering. Okay, I feel like that's a little bit too much of an angle right here, so I'm just going to kind of play with this a little bit more. Just going to get, there we go. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, so let's grab a little bit of yellow, bright yellow here. A little bit of white. Let's get the regular cadmium white, or a titanium white, not the zinc white. And I'm going to figure out where I want my sun. So, oh, I don't know why that did that. Great, I got a hole in my sand now. So, there's the third here. I probably need to bring my island out a little bit more even. Third and the third. So I want to do my sun just on the inside of the third, outside of the third. So I'm going to do it right in here. And it's kind of it's not a circle, it's kind of more of an oval shape. The sun kind of gets sort of smushed as it gets closer to the horizon. And it's a little bit up from the horizon line too. So I think about right there. I'm going to grab the bright white and do the bright white right in the center of that. Really bright. And then I'm going to go down here and just about right in here. It's kind of angling this way. I'm just going to kind of lay my brush sort of on its side and just let it sort of catch the canvas texture a little bit. You could use a fan brush for this if you wanted to kind of help break it up, or we could use like this brush maybe, something with a little bit of texture. But we can get the similar look, and I don't know why I widened it that much. It really doesn't widen out that very much. Okay, there we go. Grabbing that teal color and coming back through and just putting some of those along the sides. There we go. All right, so we need to, I'm seeing something from this. It's just looking a little bit too like bright all in one spot. So what we need to do is brighten up our water a little bit more. So I'm going to use that cadmium yellow light and a little bit of that pink color. And just make sure we go a little bit brighter than what we have here already. So I'm going to use this color. Yeah, there we go. So it'll be just like a step brighter than the colors we've got on there right now. So it'll be less of a jarring transition between that super bright yellow and the green. Okay, so there we go. And if it's not bright enough, add more white. There we go. Okay. And this golden color kind of comes all the way out. And down. A little bit more pink here. little bit farther. And it does this kind of angle right here like this. So kind of angles out this way, this color, this kind of orangey yellow glow. So just bring it all the way out there and then leave this bottom part here close to the sand more teal. And you can have a little bit of this color in there, but not as much as up in here. The predominant color is going to be this orangey pink color. Get more of that quinacridone, more white. Here we go. Wipe my brush off so I don't have too much on here. And there we go. That's a pretty color. Keep it very small up at the top, very short. And then down here we can do a little bit wider sections. Isn't that pretty? Just a layering of that teal and the color of the teal and that coral. Coral is our Pantone color of the year too, so this is kind of right along that trend. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I want to darken up the teal over here in the sky a little bit before we finish our clouds up there. But, and then of course we need to put in our sand over here again. Not sure what happened there. I think I got water dropped on it or something. There we go. Okay. And then let's go ahead and bring that island out just a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that ultramarine blue, a little bit of my pink color.
Can you move your canvas up a smidge?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole canvas,
Thanks.
it was on screen, but
Okay.
it just appeared like it wasn't, but it was.
So I want the tree to be right, the trees to be kind of right in here. So I'm going to, let's go ahead and draw it out really quickly. I'm just going to use some chalk. I'll grab my chalk bear here. I tried to find the artist that did this on Etsy and I couldn't find her, and I don't see a signature on this because I was going to want to get another one, but I couldn't find her. I got it in Kansas City, so she's apparently not on Etsy. It's kind of disappointing, yeah. All right, so I'm going to do like this. Bring it out a little bit more. Yep. And then our tree's going to go, I have this big bush right here. It's going to go above the horizon line. Right on that sandbar right there. And then we're going to have one tree kind of angling out this way into our sky, and one that kind of angles this way. And they don't go above right here, so they kind of come to right about there. I'm not going to draw them too much more than that. I just wanted to kind of know where to put my water line here. Just bring it out just a little bit more. There we go. Got some rain and thunder happening today. There we go. Okay, so make sure that my water has those colors that I wanted. That sand color. It's just a little bit lighter even than the sand itself, just slightly right in here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go and use this brush I've got here, and I'm going to go ahead and add another coat onto my sun because it's still not quite bright enough. And I don't want any hard edges with my sun. That is one thing that you want to avoid. You want to make sure that it's kind of very hazy around the edges so that it keeps the edges really blendy. So I'm going to start in the center and just kind of wipe my brush off and just tap around those edges of it. Just kind of soften that all up so that it's hazy. That'll make it look more realistic. Alrighty, we're good. Let's get a little bit more of that cadmium yellow light. I'm going to go around the outside of that white part with a little ring of yellow. Again, keep it very fuzzy. And you can bring this color, can come out a little bit if you need it to. All right, there we go. Grab a little bit of that lighter color and just do one more, like smaller highlights on our water. Just to brighten it up a little bit. Very light, a little bit farther out, just okay. So let's do our clouds. This will be fun. Do a little bit more teal right here first. We talked about grabbing that teal and grab a little bit of glazing liquid. Almost kind of more greenish, so I'm going to grab just a tiny bit of green and maybe a little bit more white. There we go. And just blending softly over that edge there, and we can make sure that the sky is well covered with our colors. So up in this corner we can do a little bit more of the Phthalo blue and Ultramarine Blue. A little bit of glazing liquid. That might look dark, but it is pretty dark up there. And that'll really also kind of help with that perspective of distance. Having this one little spot of really bright blue up here. And if you need to, you can use one of the larger brushes. Probably be helpful. Grab a little bit of white here. Grab that darker blue. And just go back and forth here. When you're adding this in, keep your brush strokes kind of long and sweeping. And we've already got color down, so you're not going to have to cover as much area with this. You just want to make sure that you're kind of just blending out those edges is the main thing. Grabbing some of that teal, a little bit of white, some of that glazing liquid. And up here, we've got our white area. I don't want to come down too far with this, so I want to just keep it brush strokes going in the right direction. So if there's streaks, it'll just look like they're part of our clouds. And there are streaks in the sky in this area, so we can kind of deliberately leave some streaks there. Okay, I think we're good. Grab a little bit of purple.
So, how many beach chairs will there be?
Ha, 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 ha. You're so funny. Adding some purple to the teal here for our sky in this area. You're so hilarious. Mark will never let me live down the beach chair incident. Every time I do a seascape, you bring it up.
Oh, heck, I'll bring it up anytime. I mean, when we're in the retirement home,
You'll be bringing it up.
I'll be bringing it up.
You'll be like, yeah, but can you draw a beach chair? Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, so let's start putting in some clouds. This will be fun. I think people are intimidated by clouds, but they're really actually pretty fun, and it's just as long as you kind of don't use too much paint and slowly kind of work your layers up, build your layers slowly. They're really not that hard, I don't feel like. So grab some of the Zinc White and grab some of the Cadmium Yellow Light here. And I'm just going to start over here with the lighter colored clouds. And it's going to be really subtle at first. I've got the Deerfoot Stippler because I want to base in my larger cloud areas first, and then we can come back in and put in our smaller details in our clouds. So just keeping it very light pressure here. I have, if you feel like you're laying down like really big clods of paint, just wipe your brush off. Wipe your brush off. And using this kind of fuzzy edged brush, you can kind of just come in here and just tap off those edges. Keep them soft. And like I said, kind of just build these up slowly. Don't try to do them all in one setting. It's all about layering with clouds. So if you want to, you can just use this Deerfoot Stippler for all of the clouds. I'm going to do some streaky clouds here, just kind of using that Zinc White and doing some diagonal streaky clouds. Use some more of that yellow. And right up in here, right about where these kind of come up, there's this big cloud right in here. So just tap in the middle where you want it brightest first. And then pat out those edges. Keep them really soft. Make them fade out into nothing. That's what will give you this soft cloud looking. You can have bright color right in the middle. They can look kind of solidish in the middle. But as long as you have those edges soft and fluffy, it'll be fine. So let's grab some of that pink that's in our horizon line over here. We'll just add some of this. Add some into our clouds. And these clouds are kind of more gray. We're going to start them kind of light, and we'll add some of the gray colors in to darken them up. We're just kind of trying to, basically we're just sort of drawing these in right now. Maybe a little bit of yellow. These ones over here have more of that yellow underneath. So kind of right behind where our trees are going to go, there's this long line that kind of goes down to about right here, and it comes up here and connects with these ones. So we're not using white, we're using the colors that are in our area down here, because that's what your clouds are going to pick up on. All the colors in your water, and the light kind of coming out of the sun that's changing the color of the water is also changing the color of those clouds. The white's kind of reflective color just in general, so anytime you're using white, it's going to pick up and kind of mirror the colors that are around it. I actually want to use the zinc white here. Just highlighting the bottom edge of that clouds and keeping it fuzzy, just side to side, kind of choppy brush strokes, and then it does this bowl shape right here. So I'm too close, honey. I'm doing these ones at the top here. Gonna have to zoom out. Keep it fuzzy, soft and blendy. And if you want to, you could use a like a wet mop brush, or there's some artists that use mop brushes. I don't tend to use mop brushes, but you can, if you want to. I find that this technique's a little bit easier than using the mop brush. For me, it's a little bit faster, and I think it looks as good. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, but if you're, if you've got a technique for you doing clouds that you're comfortable with, or, you like, I would say just use use whatever works for you. This is just the kind of technique that I tend to like to use, but it may not be right for you. You may find it easier to, do it a little bit differently. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can also keep the blue that's in their sky color if you want to. And a little bit of glazing liquid. And you can use that to tint your edges of your clouds too. Help them blend in a little bit. If you're finding that that's kind of a harsh edge. Just use some of that background color. Blend it out. Okay, really pretty, isn't it? Really fun. Let's switch to a smaller brush now. So I'm going to grab this one. This is the 3/8 inch Willows blender. This will give us a little bit more control. So I want to do some purple up in here. So I'm going to grab the same color that we did over here. So I'm going to grab that purple and a little bit of the quinacridone and some of that teal from our water. That was that color that we used right here. And I'm going to use the zinc white to tone it down, because it may be too dark. We want it about the same darkness is down here, so if this is not dark enough, we can darken it up. Same thing, just kind of doing small sections and keeping those edges soft and blendy. I'm putting a little bit of shadowing in our clouds now. And the color from before is still a little bit wet, so what we can do is grab some more of that color and blend those two together while they're both wet. I'm going back in with a little bit of teal just to kind of add some of that back in along those edges. I feel like I kind of lost that teal right in there. Wipe my brush off, put the color down where I want it darkest. Wipe my brush off, and I'm just going to tap around the edges of it. Blend it in a little bit. As it gets up here, it gets a little bit more blue, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that ultramarine blue into it up here. And there's some clouds. And it's still a little bit more purple than that. There we go. Wipe that off, grab some glazing liquid, push those edges around. You can use a paper towel also to dab off. There's all kinds of different ways of doing this. Just a little bit darker color right here. Isn't that pretty? And it's not going to look great at the first couple layers too. So if you know that going in, you can kind of trust that it's going to get better. So just kind of know going in that, it may not look really great at first, but you're going to put a couple more layers on and it'll eventually kind of get where you want it to be. So I want to transition between these two colors. So I'm just going to grab some of that yellow, maybe a little bit of the cadmium yellow medium here, and add it to that purpley color. It's going to turn it kind of a gray. Let's grab some more of that zinc white. And use that in here. So it's the transition between the yellow and the purple here. Right, then I'm going to grab some more of that. Oh, I want to grab zinc white here. And some of the cadmium yellow light. And if you still have too much of that purple in there, you can wipe your brush clean or clean it out. I don't mind having just a little bit of it in there. I'll even grab a little bit of that pink color. that salmon color from our water. I'm going to tap some of that along here. It's mostly going to be, these lighter colors are mostly going to be on the bottom of these clouds, because that's the part that the sun's catching. And I'm going to grab some more of that Cadmium Red Light and the Quinacridone. Mix that with this color. And make sure I have some Zinc White in here. Oh, that's pretty. Isn't that really pretty? A little bit in the clouds, but mostly down here is where we're seeing this color. Use a little bit of glazing liquid here to soften it up. There we go. Go over our sun just a little bit. I'm going to grab a little bit of that pink or the purple color and use it just a little bit. We don't want to overpower it, but I want it a little bit darker. There we go. So just a little bit darker than we've got there already. And do this line of clouds that kind of comes all the way across. Grab a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue. And mixing it with a little bit of the Teal from our sky color. I'm just going to go up in here and darken up. Whoop, I started too low there. Darken up some of our clouds in here and just add some fuzzy. Fuzz out my edges. I spoke about clouds. If that's something that you're really wanting to work on, I've got several videos here on YouTube that do one, but I also did a in that Facebook group that I mentioned, we did one that was a storm clouds over with just clouds. It was basically just a cloud lesson, and it took all month, and we did clouds with a windmill, and it turned out really pretty. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to my friend for Christmas, so I don't have it to show, but you can look on where would I have it? I think it's on Instagram. All right, so let's use some of this blue with this color that we did down here. Create kind of a gray. Add a little bit of, let's add a little bit of, what color do I want? Let's grab a little bit of yellow oxide, see what that does. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to go just above the sun. Yep, okay. This might look dark at first, but we'll soften it up a little bit. I'm going to tap in. I need a smaller brush, so I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. I said I wasn't going to go super realistic on this, and I'm doing it. It's an hour and a half. Okay, I need to quit messing with this. You got somebody calling you again, hon.
Thank you.
Cadmium yellow light added to this color, and I'm going to go around the edges of this cloud, and just soften up. Go over the top of it if I need to soften it up if it's too dark. Just tapping out those edges. Really bright highlight, kind of halo around it. And around it down here too. Alright, so we just need to brighten up this cloud right here. I'm going to grab some white. I still have that yellow color right here. I'm going to use the other. Where is it? See, I'm leaving my paintbrushes in the water. I'm not supposed to do that. Okay, so take those out. How's everybody doing? We didn't really say hi to everybody today. You've been kind of quiet with the chat today. Is the chat quiet today?
Yeah, there's only 2 people here.
Only 2 people watching?
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Just,
well, that's why.
Yeah, no. No, actually, we've been doing good over here.
Good.
But yeah, welcome everybody. An hour and a half into it.
If you're new, I know. If you're new, I always forget to do this. I'm supposed to do this in the first 10 minutes. Like, I have an advisor on YouTube. It tells you, how to grow your channel.
What to do.
It's been a while since I talked to them, obviously. But, yeah, you're supposed to, like, in the first 10 minutes, ask people to subscribe. I always forget to do that. I never do that.
Check. Forget to do that.
2 hours later, hey, guys, if you like it, please subscribe. Subscribe.
Paint off camera. Check.
Yeah. We hope you subscribe to our channel and come back. We do this twice a week. So every week.
Every twice a week.
Every twice a week. Yep.
That's paint brain language for 2 times a week. All the twice a weeks.
Is that what I said?
Yeah. So.
Mark teases me about paint brain. I do say the weirdest things when I get to painting. It's pretty funny. You try painting and talking sometime. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's a counterintuitive process.
I did one time, and yes, it was extremely difficult. I don't know how you do it.
It's pretty funny. It's from doing classes for so many years, I think, with kids. But I do better if I've painted it beforehand, or I've painted something similar to it beforehand, because then I'm not having to think through the process as much, and my brain's not as occupied with other stuff, and I can kind of think about what I'm talking about. And the paint part just kind of comes naturally after so many years of painting. It's just a sort of an extension of my arm in a way, It's just, all right, going a little bit brighter here, brighter yellow with mixed with a little bit of white, but just that kind of bright yellow. Adding some of that in. Oh, the This is so pretty, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking at the thing here and it's looking so pretty. So we just need to soften up the edges of our big clouds here. So using some of this color. Just going along those edges. Adding a little bit of highlight to them. I'm whispering again. I like to whisper. That's from Elf, if you don't know.
One of the all-time classics.
It's one of my favorite movies. Francisco. That's fun to say.
I was just going to say the same
Were
thing.
you? Yeah.
We have somebody at work who's named Francisco.
Oh, no. Poor guy.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
Every time you see him? Or maybe not every. But.
No, I don't do it so much to his face.
Well, now he knows if he was watching. Do you do it to other people when you were talking about him?
Yeah, somebody say Francisco and I go, oh, that's fun to say.
Okay, so we're just doing like soft, fuzzy edges around our things with this white, yellow highlight. Really pretty. That contrast between that really dark and really bright yellow here. Super pretty. Okay. Almost there. Almost ready for our trees. Trees go pretty fast. They're pretty easy to do. They don't take a whole long time. Famous last words. And it all went to the pot after that. All right. Doing my white here. Zinc white. And one more layer. This time I'm going to kind of tap and fluff upward a little bit. And this needs to be a lot brighter right here. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of the white. Be really careful when you're using titanium white, though, because it can really overtake it and be way too dark or way too bright along your edges. So just kind of be careful when you're using it. Use it very sparingly. But sometimes you just need it to get that punch of bright white. Instead of putting 12,000 layers of zinc white on there, you know, which is fine. You can slowly build it up. The zinc white will eventually get brighter, but if you've got an area that just really needs it super bright, you can use your white. And it's not pure white. I still have that kind of peachy color in here, so I don't want to use like pure white because these clouds are very much tinted yellow by the sun. So
Okay, we got a hidden question.
yeah.
How do you know when to use zinc white over titanium white?
Yeah, that's what I was just kind of saying. When it
Okay.
the zinc white is so transparent that if you've got an area that like these clouds that are just really almost pure white, not quite pure but pretty close to, then we can use the titanium white there. But in the other areas where they're softer and more kind of blendy, then you just use the zinc white. But you really want to be careful where you're using the titanium white because you don't want it to overpower. So I'm taking the zinc white now and I'm going around my edges. I only use the titanium white in the center, kind of where I wanted it brightest. And then I'm going to use this zinc white to kind of soften out around the edges and fluff up the edges of my clouds It's still bright, but it's not going to be nearly as like vivid as that area. And it's not, like I said, I'm not doing pure white. It's being tinted by these other colors that we've got going on in our palette. So I don't know why I brought that so far up. I don't really want it that far over there. I'm going to try to get off with the wet towel there. Just dab it right there. I was talking and not really paying attention. There we go. Okay. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. We'll let those dry because sometimes as the clouds dry or as your colors dry, you know, they'll change color a little bit. They'll shift, darken up. So we may decide we want a little bit more of the white in a, you know, place or two to brighten it up. Noticing there's some lighter clouds in here that I kind of didn't get. Just putting some streaks in that blue. It's not perfectly like solid blue in that area. Just kind of fuzzing it out a little bit. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that, I think. Let's do our palm trees. These are fun.
Man, I hope we're not doing a hammock this time.
No.
Because last time I nearly went crazy.
With how fun it was?
No.
With?
Because you just...
Oh, because
people were just worried about that rope.
Yeah, the rope. Okay, so our hammock, or our... It's about a thumb width from the... right at the top of our little island section here. And I'm going to go right to the edge. There's the third line. So I want to be just on the inside of that third line. Right here. And these come up above the horizon line just a little bit. And then it does this sort of semicircle shape right here. I don't know if we need to zoom in at all. I'm not sure if we can. Let's turn it this way and we can zoom in. Just, yeah, that's good. Close enough. All right, so, well, because I'm going to go all the way up to here, so I don't want to be off camera. But there is going to be some reflections in the water down here, so I'll try to warn you, but just watch for that when I do that. I may not remember that I'm on so close.
You know I'm on top of things.
Right. Between the two of us, maybe we'll remember this time. I'm zoomed in. Okay, so the basic shape for your palm tree. I'm going to get a piece of paper here. So our basic shape is going to be...
You're using a watercolor pencil?
Yeah, I'm going to use a watercolor pencil. Let me use, I'm going to use a darker one though here. I'll just use a charcoal pencil. You can see it fairly good. Okay, so here's our island, right? There's our kind of shape for the edge of the island. So this is going to be our, kind of the dome where our palm trees are resting. So there's going to be these kind of fuzzy, they kind of do this spoke thing. One palm tree is going to come down really low and curve up like that. And the other one's going to come from almost the middle, just slightly from the side of the middle, and curve this way. Okay, leave enough space between the two to be able to kind of do your fronds, palm fronds. This one, so right about here, we're going to start with our palm leaves, and they're going to do this sort of radiating. They kind of grow from the top up. So at the top, they're going straight up. And then as they continue to grow up, these ones get pushed down. So the only part that's sticking kind of straight up is just these first couple ones. And then the rest of them are all going to kind of be doing versions of sideways or down. And then these are overlapping. You're not really seeing the ones in the middle here because they're coming kind of straight at us or straight down at us. So we're just seeing the sides of those. And so the ones coming down this way, we're going to see the palm fronds kind of coming down this way. Just the bottom edges. The ones that are kind of facing us, we'll see both sides, so they'll be kind of fuzzy on both sides. So the leaf looks like this and does kind of like this. But when you see it from the side, it looks like this. Almost like a feather. And then some of them like this are just going to look like they're straight up. So here again, down, down, down. All these ones down here are kind of going facing down. There's some long ones that are kind of coming out the side. Everything's kind of going right at the top of the tree trunk right there. Why just widen that out so much? Right in here is where they're all kind of pointing to. And they do grow down on the trunk itself, so they don't have to be like right all up in there. Some of them are going to, we used to have our palm trees trimmed, and they would cut off these lower branches. As the trunk gets taller and taller, it moves away from center, but there we go. So there's your kind of basic shape drawn in. So you're probably not going to be able to see that much on here. That's why I drew it on the paper for you. So I'm just going to kind of do the basic shape, and then I'll do the palm leaves as I'm painting it. Kind of sketch it out as I paint it. I better finish this because I got to go to the bathroom. I had that whole Coke.
Oh, wow. So do you want me to take over while you're...
Yeah, you should do the rest of this. I'm okay, but I definitely can't go another half hour, so we're going to have to get this done. Sorry, that's probably TMI. It was like, we did not need to know that. Oh, the joys of live streaming. Alrighty, so I don't think I'm gonna need the larger of the 3/8 inch angle shader. I think it's gonna be too big for this. So I'm gonna use the 1/4 inch angle shader, and I'm gonna mix up some burnt umber and my purple. That'll be our dark color for our palm leaves. Adding a little bit of green to it too. It's going to give us a really rich black. And I'm just going to do some little fuzzies here. Just kind of using the edge of that brush, the tip of the brush, to draw out some leaf shapes where these palm trees live. The bottom is pretty much flat, straight across. And then there's some sections that kind of come up and over. And at the top, they kind of just go straight up. It's almost the same as the palm trees themselves. Okay, then I'm going to use some glazing liquid, this color. And I'm going to grab some Zinc White just to tone it down a little bit. Want a much lighter version. And I'm going to use it in our sand. So I'm going to use it at a diagonal And just kind of do like that. Like that. And sadly, I kind of brought my sand out so much, I'm not really sure what the shadow looks like this far over. So it probably widens out, I'm guessing. So we put, and our reference photo cuts off right here. So I'm not 100% sure what this looks like over here. So I'm just going to kind of fudge it and sort of widen it out a little bit as it gets away from the edge. And they're kind of combining, I guess, probably the way they're lining up in our reference photo. I'm not seeing two distinct lines here. I'm just seeing kind of one coming out. So you can use that sand color to kind of around, just kind of create that sort of dune feeling. So it's kind of catching, you're not seeing a solid shadow, it's catching that sand and changing. Let's grab a little bit of this color, a little bit more of that glazing liquid. And I'm going to go right up underneath here and do shadows in my water, just lines. Really just coming down from here at a little bit of an angle. Like that. Okay. Let's use that darker color to put in our tree trunks. So I'm going to use the edge of the brush and just pull down. If you want to, you could use a liner brush or a smaller round brush if you're having trouble getting a straight line with this. I find that it's easier to do these longer lines with a angle brush or a flat brush, flat edge brush. But you just practice. You can practice this on paper if you want to, till you kind of get the feel for it before you go straight onto the canvas. So there's that. I might widen it just a little bit. I want to make sure that the base is a little bit, the base doesn't have to be wider than the top, but you don't want the top to be wider than the base, right? So they stay about the same width all the way down. So just keep that in mind when you're doing yours. You don't want to have them to be uneven. All right, and then I'm going to I'm just going to tap to do my palm fronds. Go ahead and you can zoom back in now. Yeah. Okay, good. So just setting my brush down. If I've got it pressed flat enough, I can do these lines just by tapping. Get these thin lines. And I find it's good to do kind of a line, and then if you need to, you can tap along the edge of it to widen it out. This one is pretty much a straight line almost. There's a little bit kind of underneath it and over the top there. And we're doing the darker color. We'll come back in and highlight these a little bit. So there's like, I don't know what's happening in here because it's all kind of dark. So I'm really just kind of looking at the outline of the tree and trying to get that kind of right. And just make sure that this inner part is well covered. There's really not a lot of holes. And then there's a few, but not a lot. Line. And then tap, tap, tap. And I can point it this way if I want even smaller. Line. And they should narrow a little bit at the tip too. Some of them are sort of blunted, but they do tend to kind of narrow just a little bit at the tip. Come to a slight point. Go. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm looking at my original photo here, and I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to do another, like a bigger one right in here. I'm noticing it kind of comes out a little bit more on that side. Just bring that out. There we go. Okay. Shaggy on the base. There's like a long kind of random one out here. Another long random one right here. All pointing back into this little spot right here. And these ones curve out and down a little bit. Let's mix up a little bit more of this. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Bring this down just a little bit more. going to switch to the number 1 round now. Dip all my brushes back in the water so they don't dry out while I'm finishing this up. Okay, there you go. Oh, just got paint all over those. Nice. Sorry. Like all over them. Just set them right down in my palette. I have so much little space to work with this big canvas. Here, it's hard to... No rooms for my brushes. Alrighty, so we want to use, I'm going to use the Cadmium Red Light, a little bit of the Cadmium Orange, maybe a tiny bit of the Magenta. I'm going to along here and add highlights just along this side of the trees. And if it's not showing up, you can add a little bit of white to it. Make it a little bit more opaque. There we go. So the ones that are hitting the light are the ones that are in front. So now we can bring it all the way into the middle on some of these. You'll be able to see that these are coming from the middle there. This one's in shadow, and this one's sticking out a little bit. See that? A little bit of the back side of that one's showing. Okay, and then if you need to, you can kind of do a little bit of transition between these two colors because it is kind of a stark contrast. Maybe grab some of that Quinacridone Magenta, do a little bit of that in some of the shadow areas, or like right next to it where it's kind of coming down into the shadow areas to blend it in a little bit. Even grab a little bit of the burnt umber here and use a little bit of it in the middle of our tree. Okay. Use a little bit of green. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to go back with that Cadmium Red Light and do it just in a couple of places to really brighten up a couple of spots. And then go along that tree trunk with this color just on this side. Do the same thing on this one. I'm going to grab a little bit of the yellow, cadmium yellow light, and some of that zinc white. Use it right here. And you could kind of pull it to the side. These are so small, you really don't have a whole lot of room to work with. So, but you can kind of get a little bit of detail in there, like that. And then these ones over here, I'm going to use more of the yellow because they're closer to the sun. These are going to be a little bit lighter. Use some of that cadmium red light right here. Pop of brightness. A little bit farther in toward the center, with maybe one sticking out. And then we can go in with some of the green. And do just a little bit of hint of green in there. You're really not going to see, as the sun sets, you're going to, all these colors are going to turn to blue, blue and purple as they go to black. So you're not going to have big green trees with, you know, your muted sunset colors. It's not how it works. So I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow with the purple color that we use in our bushes, and just do a little bit of highlighting just on a few of them, and maybe grab a little bit of the burnt sienna, a little bit of zinc white, water it down just a little bit, and use it, kind of create a glow on our sand right here under our trees. Was I off camera?
Maybe.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Can you do that part again?
Yeah, it's just burnt sienna. I just went right here. A little bit of burnt sienna, watered down. Just kind of warm up our sand a little bit. And we're done. I'm going to zoom out there. If you feel like you need to, you can kind of come in to our area in front of our sand here with a little bit more highlights on our water. Just a little bit lighter color. And over the top of some of our shadows, just to kind of tone it down. You can also use zinc white over the top of your shadows. It's a really good trick to kind of make them look translucent. So if you're feeling like your shadows just kind of don't look quite right, you can do that to kind of help them. And there's a little bit of white right along the shoreline there. And I think we're done. What do you think? Pretty close. Fairly close. Our colors are a little bit lighter than the reference photos. So if you wanted to, you could go back in and do another layer of bright washes of color on your sky.
You need to pull it down a little bit
of
more.
Orange.
There you go.
I feel like it's not quite. Move it over. There we go. There we go. So now we can see the whole thing.
Voila.
Voila. It's pretty. I actually like that we kind of muted the colors a little bit, though. I feel like I need to go a little bit darker along my horizon line back here, just slightly. So I'm going to do that right now. Before I quit, just get a little bit of that ultramarine blue with that magenta and teal. And I'm going to use this scrubby brush. It'll kind of help it go on a little bit softer. wipe most of it off. I'm just going to kind of scrub along that line there. And blend it out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I feel like this whole area of water down here could be a little bit darker too. Behind the island in here. It kind of fades out darker as it goes off that side. Okay. So these are the kind of small little fixes that you can do on yours if you see things that you want to change. But yeah, I think that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to sign it really quick. Go ahead and use a liner brush. This is the 18-aught. And what color do I want to use? Use white down here. Maybe a little bit of yellow. I'm off camera there, sorry. Super chat. Moo.
Yeah, the remote control doesn't ring very well. I picked it up first. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's not what I want. I want the cowbell. Yes, we had a couple super chats today. First one was from Artifacts, and they say, thanks for all you do.
Oh,
Thank you. And then the second one was from Susan, and she says, I love the large reference photo. No ugly stage today.
oh,
The painting is beautiful. Thank you, Angela, Mark, and mods.
oh, yes. Thank you to the mods.
Yes.
I
Thank you,
forget to
Susan.
thank you guys, but you guys are amazing, and we could not do this without you. So thank you to those who take the time out of their days, weekends to help not only here, but also in my Facebook group. I've got a group of 6 ladies that help me in there, and they're amazing.
And one guy.
Well, yeah, you don't count.
Wow. For sure, but yeah, thanks. And again, thanks to the Super Chat supporters and the Patreon supporters. I posted a picture in the Facebook group earlier today of the monster
New computer.
that's going to be built in the coming weeks.
Several $1,000s that went into that. So we could not have done that without you guys helping us.
The Patreon, Super Chat, people who donate directly through PayPal.
Yes.
Buy stuff through the Brush Guys.
Yes, on Amazon, everything. All of that adds up. So thank you so much. Yay. I really like that one. I think it turned out nice. It's very pretty.
It's very nice.
Very serene. Calming. And if you are part of my Patreon crew, we're going to be posting the link to tomorrow's video. It's not up yet, so I'll be doing that right after the show. So you can look for that.
Almost right after the show. We know what you're going to be doing right after the show.
Be quiet. All right.
But yes, tomorrow, show them again. Show them again the picture. Supporters, $5 and above.
And like I said, I'll show you how to do it in color too if you want to do it in color instead of the black and white. We're going to start in black and white, and then we'll glaze over the top with our colors.
Because black and white aren't colors. Little known fact. Sorry, I had to say it.
They are colors. They have either all of them or none of them.
I've just been in
agree
one of
to
those moods
disagree.
today.
All right. I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to stop now. So, all right. Yeah, I could fiddle with this one for a little bit longer, but I think it looks good enough.
So yeah, we're doing the Patreon show tomorrow, but then also on Tuesday, the next show is...
It's the daisies. We're going to do our flower of the month daisies.
Nice,
So
nice.
little flower basket, small canvas. And then next Saturday, we're doing Llama Mama. It'll be super
Llama
fun.
Mama.
Yeah, or Mama Llama, whatever you want to call it. It'll be really cute.
Fantastic.
Mama and her baby. So it'll be good for Mother's Day. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.